It's Sunday, February 6th, 2022. Um, Ben and Benjamin and Alexander came over. It's my father's birthday, or celebrating my father's birthday. And the Olympics were on. Somebody put the TV on and put it onto that. Um, I have never watched it. They said they've never really watched it. Um, which would be the logical. If I wasn't watching it, they wouldn't watch it. But I don't know if they were exposed to it through whatever. Um, so as we're watching it, a commercial comes on. The cell phone carriers used to just be the area. Just, I mean, they don't really talk about it. They just called it a cell phone, which was just like a cordless portable device or piece of whatever. No mention of how it worked or who or any integral or intramural pieces were taught. None of that was taught. Just that you could walk and talk. So it went from that, just regular cellular service where it had antennas, like one antenna, and then it had the bars. And then it went to something called, the first thing that they called it was an edge with, I think, an E, or I don't know if it went from 2G to edge, or it went from edge to 2G to 3G, then something to 4G, then to a 5G. Nobody has any idea what these G's mean in actuality in my space where I speak to people. Like, my children have no idea. They didn't learn it in school. Neither did my parents. It's just the name of the network they said that the phones are running off of. That's as much of an explanation as anybody's able to give me when I ask what it is. Because now there was a commercial on during the Olympics saying it's 5G, but with a UW. It says ultra wide is what they're characterizing it as, or the announcement that they made. I I asked my children what that meant. I said, so now it's 5G, which again, I'm not really clear what that really means, but G being like not really definable in the level of education of life science and integral science. There's been really at public school not very much. So I asked my children without prejudice if they knew. They did not. And I said, what do you think ultra wide means? And they're like, it's just ultra wide. It's just more bandwidth. And I'm like, but what does that actually mean? Like, or look like? Like, if you think about it, why? Why does it need to be ultra wide? Why is there so much? And like, I don't know if it's just the weather pattern, if it's the brain wave function around the compartment. I'm not quite sure why, if the body is the Maori or the ancient antenna, I'm not quite sure why the signal between the antenna and the whatever on the outside, why the programming in this time and space is so off, that the words are not like they're going in the ear, but once it hits a cognitive level, it's not processing where it's like a signal going off, like, no, this could signal danger. it's like that innate instinct or response is gone. So I said to my son, well, I tried to have a conversation before the 5G ultra wide commercial came on. And I said, now walk me through this, gentlemen. I was like, if there's some kind of, and I went through FM radio, it being just what was on the radio. I said, from what I know with buying radio time for a small commercial that I did for short sales a long time ago, I was like, you buy airtime is what they call it for a radio commercial. I was like, but TV commercial has something along those lines as well, where you buy airtime. But it's, by the time a consumer like myself was able to buy it, it had been so chopped down to the smallest piece of like 30 seconds. Still incredibly expensive. But that was like years ago. And my children, and I said, so now you have that. Now, first you only had antenna between 1 to 13, the channels. But now you have all of these packages trying to go at the same time. I was like, all these sports packages and the movie packages and everything's streaming and everything's running off a cell. I was like, don't you think like that high vibration is going to cause some kind of alternate effect? And like, the point I was trying to make, they're having trouble connecting. Like, they hear my words, but they're just like zone out, tune out. They don't want to hear the ideas or the concepts or the possibilities of what I was speaking on and me voicing my concerns, which is also a sign of big time concern, based on the level of light that I see outside. I was trying to see in their level of education, because they went to different schools than I did, but still public school. I was talking to Allie, and he's like, yeah, but he said that radio waves are not harmful. And I was like, that's not, I mean, again, I don't want to contradict you, my love. I was like, but if you got airwaves going one way and then there's other irrational rationales going another way in a different band, and there starts to be high tension friction. I mean, I'm not real sure on the words that the professionals use. I was like, but at some point, if it starts acting out and interfering with physiological processes of the biology or the anatomy, and so they're like, again, I don't know where to go to report or to ask or to even have a conversation with my own kids, because they're not in an area where they're teaching like Alex says he's learning calculus, but if it's the same level that I was learning, it's not really, it's not where they should be, based on some of the other children that I see when I go around the channels. Like, some children I'm seeing are actually physically like building robots and taking part in hands-on like mechanics and matrix and database building and all that stuff. My children have had not to my knowledge, they've had no access to that whatsoever. And it looks like Ben is able to keep his physique and physical fitness, which is good. Alex is trying. Dan not so much, but Dan really likes the animals, with taking care of cats, dogs, birds, that kind of thing. So, but it's just, again, and I saw on television today, one of the programs, I think it was Face the Nation. Oh, I forget the gentleman's name. And I apologize. It eludes me at the moment, and I apologize. I know what his face looks like. I just can't remember his name. He mentioned something about the... and now the thought just totally leaves me. This is so frustrating. I gotta pause this. That was it. I don't remember his name, but he said, on Face the Nation, he said that, like, if you have something that you want to report about, say, a senator or whatever that you think is, I don't remember the exact words he used, but he used the word senator. He's like, and you go to the local police department to report it, they're not even equipped or set up to, at that level of knowing, in, like, I mean, again, he didn't say just New York, it was on Face the Nation, and I don't know what area he serves. So I don't know if that's like an umbrella policy thing. Again, that gets confusing. But that was what my problem was, is that I don't even know what, I mean, I don't even know where and what needs to be reported and to whom. Like direct chain of command, like direct, not chain of evidence, but I suppose on one hand that would be a word sequence that would work for construct, but like where do you relay information to in actuality in this modern world? I mean, I'm not fluent with NYPD because I don't have a job there. I haven't flourished in a career. I don't have a fraternal order to rely on, per se, like if they see a video or whatever, I don't know. Because there's no way to see who's viewing even that. So again, but I noticed that on Face the Nation, I think, was it Senator Mark Rubio? Maybe that's who it was. But again, I don't want to make that exact because he was on it and his face again looked familiar, but I'm not 100% positive. So I'll just make that disclaimer, just in case I'm wrong. But it was the first gentleman that opened the show after the host came on. But I thought that was very interesting, with the police in some of these areas, that even their training is not up to, I guess, par with knowing if somebody reports about a senator or whatever. I mean, like, if they're not teaching it in the elementary schools and middle schools and high schools, and they're taking the focus and putting it on something else, or they're making it such a hard to know, it just leaves room for too many errors to start to bloom, and then it causes confusion, or it makes it appear like one's not organized when one really has an organization. There's just neighborhood participants that may not know how to effectively communicate at what level and how the professional organization prefers to interact. And again, I don't know also if that's congruent throughout its entire organization, because it looks like sometimes I hear, like it sounds like certain areas or boroughs are set up or participating in alternate community events that may not be throughout all the boroughs. So I don't know if that's effectively communicated anywhere. doesn't mean that the boroughs that aren't participating wouldn't want to. It's just we may not have. I know, like for myself, we may not be in a situation where we're set up in order to have that level of communication yet. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.